नमस्कार। भोजन अवकाश के बाद आप सब फिर एक नई ऊर्जा से, नई चेतना से मंडित होकर डॉक्टर हरि सिंह गौर विश्वविद्यालय के स्वर्ण जयंती सभागार में एकत्र हैं और हमारी 3 दिवसीय अंतर्राष्ट्रीय संगोष्ठी के तीसरे दिन के दूसरे यानी कि इस संगोष्ठी के आखिरी विचार सत्र के साक्षी बन रहे हैं। हमें इस बात की हार्दिक खुशी है कि अद्वैत वेदांत दर्शन को विभिन्न दिशाओं और संभावनाओं के साथ देखने पर रखने का जो एक वैचारिक आनुष्ठानिक सिलसिला शुरू हुआ, आज उसके हम कह सकते हैं कि उसके चरम की घड़ी है और एक बहुत महत्वपूर्ण विषय पर अपना विश्लेषण, अपना विमर्श प्रस्तुत करने के लिए हमारे बीच स्वामी मित्रानंद सरस्वती जी हैं। हमारे इस वक्ता संकुल में संस्कृति और प्रशासन के एक महत्वपूर्ण हस्ताक्षर आदरणीय पवन कुमार वर्मा जी हमारे साथ हाजिर हैं और प्रोफेसर अंबिका दत्त शर्मा जी, आप सब जानते हैं कि इस सागर विश्वविद्यालय के दर्शन विभाग के विभागाध्यक्ष हैं और इस पूरे 3 दिवसीय वैचारिक अनुष्ठान के एक संयोजन सूत्रधार की भूमिका में भी उन्होंने अपना महत्वपूर्ण योगदान दिया है। बहरहाल हम बहुत ही सम्मान के साथ मंच पर आमंत्रित करें आदरणीय स्वामी मित्रानंद सरस्वती जी को, आदरणीय पवन कुमार वर्मा जी को और प्रोफेसर अंबिका दत्त शर्मा जी को। माननीय कुलपति प्रोफेसर B.K. तिवारी जी से हमारा निवेदन है, वे जी माननीय कुलपति महोदय भी पधार चुके हैं। हम चाहेंगे कि वे भी मंच पर आएं। माननीय कुल सचिव महोदय श्री संतोष सागुरा जी भी हमारे साथ हैं। मंच पर स्वागत अभिवादन आदरणीय स्वामी मित्रानंद सरस्वती जी का, पवन जी का और अंबिका दत्त शर्मा जी का। बटुकों से एक बार पुनः निवेदन है, हमारे युवा साधक हैं और वैदिक उद्घोष के साथ हम हर सत्र की शुरुआत करते हैं। इस सत्र में भी हम चाहेंगे कि ये युववाणी अपनी तरंगें इस सभागार में बिखेरें और हम सब एक बार फिर वेदों का स्मरण करें। आमंत्रित हैं आर्ट लिविंग के साधक, युवा छात्र
ध्वंसं वदध्वंसं वो मनांसि जानताम् देवा भागै यथा पूर्वे सञ्जानाना उपासते समानो मन्त्रः समितिः समाने समानं मनः सह चित्तमेषाम् समानं मन्त्रमभिमन्त्रयेव समानेन वो हविषा जुहोमि समाने वागोजिः समाना हृदयानि वः समानमस्तु वो मनो यथा वस्सु सहासते तच्छयोरावृणीमहे गातुर्यज्ञाय गातुर्यज्ञपतये दैवे स्वस्तिरस्तु नः स्वस्तिर्मानुषेभ्यः ऊर्ध्वञ्जिगातु भेषजम् शन्नो अस्तु द्विपदे शञ्चतुष्पदे ॐ
वेद पाठ के बाद हम विश्वविद्यालय परिवार की ओर से मंचासीन महानुभावों का स्वागत करना चाहेंगे। माननीय कुलपति महोदय से गुजारिश है वे कृपया मंच पर पधारें और आदरणीय स्वामी जी का, मित्रानंद सरस्वती जी का गुलदस्ता, श्रीफल, अंगवस्त्र और साहित्य तथा आदि शंकराचार्य की चित्रकृति भेंट कर अभिनंदन करें। आदरणीय श्री पवन कुमार वर्मा जी, शंकराचार्य पर केंद्रित जब इन गतिविधियों का सूत्रपात हमने किया, तब आदरणीय पवन वर्मा जी अपनी बहुमुखी संज्ञान के साथ, अपनी वक्तृत्व कला के साथ, अपने बोध के साथ हमारे इस अनुष्ठान का हिस्सा बने और आज भी सागर के इस महायज्ञ में हमारे साथ हैं। उनका भी हार्दिक स्वागत, अभिनंदन। हम चाहेंगे कि आदरणीय कुल सचिव श्री संतोष तोगोरा मंच पर आएं और प्रोफेसर अंबिका दत्त शर्मा जी का पुष्प और श्रीफल और अंगवस्त्र भेंट कर उनका अभिनंदन करें। विश्वविद्यालय के माननीय कुल सचिव श्री संतोष जी और स्वागत, अभिनंदन प्रोफेसर अंबिका दत्त शर्मा जी का। बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद। आदरणीय महानुभावों, जब कोई अभियान एक वृहत आकार में आगे बढ़ता हुआ संभावनाओं के नए आकाश तय करता हुआ हमें दिखाई देता है, तब उसी वक्त कुछ पिछले पन्ने पलटने को भी जी चाहता है। मध्य प्रदेश में जब आदि शंकराचार्य के सांस्कृतिक पुनर्वास की बात आई, जब उनकी स्मृतियों को इतिहास से खंगोला गया और जब इस तरह के एक पवित्र अनुष्ठान का सिलसिला शुरू हुआ, वो तारीख थी 7 फरवरी 2017। हम में से बहुत सारे लोग उस क्षण के साक्षी हैं, उस दिव्य क्षण के साक्षी हैं, जब ओंकार पर्वत पर आदि शंकराचार्य की 180 फीट की अष्टधातु की प्रतिमा के शिलान्यास का भी वो मुहूर्त मुकर्रर हुआ था। तमाम संत महात्मा शंकराचार्य, विभिन्न मठों के हमारे आचार्य उन दिव्य क्षणों के साक्षी बने थे और एक पूरा लोकव्यापी अभियान शंकराचार्य का प्रदेश से लेकर पूरे देश तक फैलाने का एक संकल्प भी मूर्त हुआ था। तब से चलकर आज तक इन 2 वर्षों में आदि शंकराचार्य की स्मृति, उनका दर्शन, अध्यात्म, उनकी वैचारिक चेतना और सनातन सत्य जो उन्होंने वेदांत दर्शन के प्रतिपादन में हम सब तक पहुंचाया, उसे इस वैश्विक आकार तक, वैश्विक फलक तक पहुंचाने के लिए निश्चित रूप से एक बड़े पुरुषार्थ की, बड़े संकल्प की जरूरत थी। लेकिन कहते हैं लंबा सफर अक्सर तब आसान हो जाया करता है जब कोई साथ चला करता है। और बड़ा मशहूर सा शेर है कि मैं अकेला ही चला था जानी बेमंजिल, मगर लोग आते गए और कारवां बनता गया। ये मध्य प्रदेश का राजनीतिक सौभाग्य भी है, सांस्कृतिक सौभाग्य है कि 2 वर्ष पहले वो पर्यावरण था मध्य प्रदेश में जब आदि शंकराचार्य की स्मृति को पुनर्जीवित किया, लेकिन बाद के कालक्रम में भी उसी निष्ठा के साथ, उसी संकल्प शक्ति के साथ इस अभियान को हम बढ़ता हुआ देख रहे हैं। निश्चित रूप से हमारा भरोसा भीतर तक बहुत गहरा हो रहा है। आप सब उस मंशा में शामिल हैं, इसलिए सामूहिक रूप से हम आपके प्रति भी अपनी कृतज्ञता व्यक्त करते हैं। किसी ने कहा है कि तुम गढ़े इसलिए गए कि तुम जो आज हो उससे कल और बेहतर बनो। तुम तराशे इसलिए गए कि तुम कुछ ऐसा चुन सको जो निर्माण का मानक बने। तुम बनाए इसलिए गए कि तुम वो बनाओ जिसकी नींव में कुछ ठोस हो। तुम गतिशील इसलिए किए गए कि तुम पड़ाव भर न बने रहो, मंजिल बनो। तुम्हें अंजूरी इसलिए सौंपी गई कि तुम आचमन भर न करते रहो, कुछ अर्घ्य भी चढ़ाओ। तुम्हें कंठ इसलिए नहीं मिला कि सिर्फ वंदना करते रहो, संवेदना को स्वर भी दो, संघर्ष का जयघोष भी करो। ऐसी नए अभ्युदय और संकल्पनाओं की इबारतों को हम सब मिलकर पढ़ रहे हैं। निश्चित रूप से हम सब के लिए बहुत धन्यता का क्षण है। आज इस वैश्विक समागम का ये अंतिम सत्र है और एक बार फिर हम आदि शंकराचार्य को स्मरण कर रहे हैं, उनके वेदांत दर्शन को याद कर रहे हैं और वैश्विक एकात्मता के दर्शन को इन तमाम वक्ताओं की विचारवाणी के माध्यम से फिर से पढ़ने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं। हम बहुत सम्मान के साथ आज के इस पहले उद्बोधन के लिए आमंत्रित करना चाहेंगे स्वामी मित्रानंद सरस्वती जी को। आदरणीय स्वामी जी पधारें और अपनी अमृतवाणी से हम सबको लाभान्वित करें। मित्रानंद जी का परिचय आप सबसे अछूता नहीं है। हम सब जानते हैं कि चिन्मय मिशन के साथ जुड़कर जिस तरह से उन्होंने विशेष रूप से हमारी युवा चेतना को उसके साथ जोड़कर आगे तक की राहें प्रशस्त की हैं, उसमें आदरणीय स्वामी जी का बहुत ही महत्वपूर्ण योगदान है। बहुत सम्मान के साथ आप सबके बीच आदरणीय स्वामी जी।
सदाशिव समारंभां शंकराचार्य मध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्य पर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरु परंपरा। Stay awake, don't sleep. I'm telling myself, okay. Because I'm scared if I close my eyes, I may go to sleep. I had a red-eye flight and straight from airport I am here. Traveled all the night from Chennai to Delhi, Delhi to Bhopal. So even sitting here, I was like, if I close my eyes, I may doze. So I just told myself, don't sleep. I hope you got the message. Yeah, thank you. We are all travelers, yatris. Just imagine the journey of the jiva, even if we take it from the unicellular organism to what we are today. Imagine the long journey each one of us have taken. Imagine the yatra which we have taken to arrive where we are today in life. In this journey, when we come towards the end of the journey, that's when we get to hear about Advaita Vedanta. In this Jiva's journey, when we get to the last leg, last lap, that's when we get to hear about Advaita Vedanta. That's when we appreciate Shankara. That's when we understand what Shankaracharya had, what was his vision, etc. And if we look at Adi Shankaracharya's life itself, how much travel he made. As an 8-year-old child, walking from Kerala to Madhya Pradesh, what a beautiful journey. And we need to appreciate here that an 8-year-old child was in pursuit of truth, wanted to know what the truth is. What the truth is, and was ready to leave the known and move into the unknown. 8-year-old, rare human being. Can we try and recollect what we were doing at 8 years? At the age of 8, what was our aspirations? What was that we were seeking? But here is a child who wants to know the truth, the highest, and ready to take sannyas, walk out, leave the known, enter into the unknown. A very daring, adventurous spirit he had. This mumukshutvam, this daring spirit, is very important for a seeker to arrive upon understanding Advaita. So this 8-year-old boy walked out trying to see what is the unknown, what all he must have experienced in his travel. when he moved from Kerala to Madhya Pradesh. Not knowing where the next meal will come from. Not sure where you're going to shelter next day. Open to the universe, the child starts. And Shankaracharya, after understanding the Advaitic principles, experienced it, he made sure that he traveled further, connected the country much better. Because yatra plays a vital role in our exposure. Yatra, when we travel more, the exposure what we have is completely different. Our perception about life changes completely through travel. And that's why a lot of Tirtha Yatras were once again reconnected. They were existing, but Shankara made it a point that we have this Tirtha Yatra, we travel, we reconnect. So this way, through travel, connecting the nation in different locations, which held India together. Please understand, as Bharat, when we say Tirtha Yatra played a vital role, and Shankaracharya ji insisted upon that. Apart from the Vedic Advaitic standpoint, he connected us with the Tirtha Yatra. How? It's a very simple analysis. Amarnath, for example, today, is being with us all the while because many people go there as a yatra. So a travel integrates people, travel connects people, travel gives us an exposure, and Adi Shankaracharya did that. From childhood onwards, his travel in life was so beautiful. We need to get that inspiration from him. That it's a travel. All of us have traveled a long, long way to arrive where we are, what we have understood, and how we proceed further. So he used this method of travel, connecting Tirtha Yatra, and brought a kind of integrity. And through travel, apart from your subjective experience, you appreciate the Lord present everywhere in different forms, different shapes, different ways he expresses. And he made us see that. If we are talking about harmony in the world, we are talking about at some day the mankind will arrive upon harmonious living, moving upon this earth, thinking we are one family. If we have to get there, it is only with the vision what Shankara had. This vision alone can bring the universe together as one family. Advaita does this. If we are looking out for world peace, if we are looking out for harmony in the world, we definitely need Advaita philosophy to reach out. Please remember, before we go further into this topic, please remember, they will take this philosophy from us only when they see us in the point of strength. When we want to tell something, we need to be in the position of strength. If we are not in a position of strength, no matter what we say, people will not take. Why people came to India at some point of time? All the travelers around the world, their destination was India. Even in 10th century, our GDP was 32%. In 18th century, our GDP in the world was 25%. We were a very prosperous country. When we have strength and prosperity, people will come and listen to you. Then when we say something, people will hear. It's very interesting. If you go to Indonesia, what you call as East is called Timur, and West is called Bharat. The word West in Indonesia, Bahasa, is Bharat, because India is on the western side of Indonesia, and so they call the direction itself as Bharat. Now, that was our prominence, that was our glory, that was our prosperity. When we were in that position, people would listen. If we need the world to be peaceful, our nation has to become strong because we have something so precious the rest of the world doesn't have it. What we have as a nation, the others don't have it. They have no idea about it. So if we have to convey something, we need to set up ourselves really strong. Please remember, strength respects strength. Strength respects strength. If we don't become strong, we cannot convey what we are. And today, why we need to be strong? Because we have something so precious which every human being in the world needs it. We have something so precious which needs to reach out to people. For that, we need to become really strong. And then when we are strong, this beautiful philosophy what we have, this beautiful vision what we have will reach everybody. If we are not in that position, nobody will even look into us. So we have to present ourselves to that kind of a position of strength, material and spiritual strength together. Then people will look into it. And this message of Advaita philosophy has to reach across the globe for the peace of the world. Because the people whom we meet are none other than one source, same. But that message has to reach. So Shankaracharya had this beautiful vision, brought it out so well, presented it in such a way that someone could work for probably 16 years. First 8 years were with his parents, then the 8 years were with his guru. After that, let us say, for another 16 years, he worked around. But what an impact. What an impact. A person who was 16, a youth, moved across the country, left something. These kind of programs, I'm very happy because, I came out middle of a program, actually, which was happening in Chennai. And that's why I'm rushing back. Because somewhere I have heard Gurudev Swami Chinmayananji saying, lot of things in our country can change if Shankara can become a youth icon. Please remember, we need to proceed in that direction. We need to make him a youth icon. Swami Chinmayananji said this. And he is. But we have disconnected. We do not know about him. We have missed him out completely. Such a brilliant, brilliant mind. If we have to take brilliant minds in the world, top 10, Shankara would occupy first 3 of the humanity, of the world. All the brains which has come from time to time, he would be there on the top. Such a brilliant youth. In our country, we don't know him. Somewhere in our presentation, we need to make some changes. We need to present Shankara itself for our youngsters to take up. Once our people take up, because this nation has the largest young population in the world. If we can connect with Shankara, we connect with strength. Please remember, both are same. Connecting with Shankara is connecting with universal vision. Connecting with Shankara is connecting with strength. Nation can be built easily. We will be in a position of strength, the world will look up to us, and this beautiful philosophy will reach them. So this aspect of Shankara, we should start presenting, who had this great universal vision, who saw the whole universe as one, who taught everybody that there is only one and there is no two. It's a very interesting conversation. I'm sure you must have heard it earlier too, between Hastamalaka and Shankaracharya, traveler. Shankara was traveling, meets Hastamalaka, and what did the world think about Hastamalaka at that time? The people around. What did they think about him? Hastamalaka was seen as what? Hastamalaka was seen as a retard. A person who was by himself laughing, living somewhere, not even talking. By himself, everybody thought he is no use. And he was what, 14 years old? And Shankara meets this child and looks at him. And the parents say, please bless him and all that. And Shankara comes there, looks at the child. Until then, Hastamalaka never spoke to anybody, didn't open his mouth. They thought he's dumb. And Shankara asks, what's your name? Kuta agatosi, from where have you come? What's your name and from where have you come? A very simple question. Everybody asks us this question, isn't it? How many people must have asked us this question? Where are you? Who are you? From where do you come? Shankara looked at him and he said, from where have you come? Who are you? From where have you come? What's your name? And I'm sure people around must have told Shankara, he doesn't speak. He's quiet. They've said, you wait, listen to him. And Hastamalaka comes out and says, Naham manushya na cha deva yakshaha, na brahmana kshatriya vaishya shudra, na brahmachari na grihi na vanastaha, kshur na chaham nicha bodha rupa. Look at the communication, the master and the student. One of the outstanding meetings this is. A young boy, a teenager, Shankara meets and puts a question, and the boy comes up with a philosophy of this kind. Naham manushya. I'm not a human being. Nacha deva yakshaha. Nor a devata, nor a yaksha. I am not all this. Who are you? From where have you come? I'm not all this. Then na brahmana, na kshatriya, vaishya, shudra. I am neither the four molds which are existing. I'm not those. I don't believe. I'm beyond that. Are you a brahmachari? He said, sorry, no, I'm not a brahmachari either. Then what? Householder? No. Nor a householder. Vanaprastha? Na vanastaha. Then I am not even a sannyasi, bhikshu. Then who are you? Absolute pure consciousness, nicha bodha rupaha. What is this communication? Look at the depth what we have. I'm talking about the student. Leave the guru. I'm talking about the student. Look at the depth. What is this communication? What kind of people lived upon this earth? What a historical, magnificent meeting. Just an introduction, the child said where he comes from, where he belongs, what is his thinking. This idea of universal vision, which is far beyond body and its conditioning, how many years ago Shankara said, Jati niti kula gotra durakam nama rupa guna dosha varjitam. Please think. If we can just take these outer layers away, anywhere in the world what we see is the truth. We have added layers and lost in the layers. This one person came and told us, remove that one layer after another, just check who you are. If the world wants, we need to transcend layers which we have added to ourselves. Those layers which we have covered ourselves have to be taken one mask after another. Just keep taking it out. And teach the world. Learn to look what is inside and not the mask which covers it. Identifying with the mask is missing the content. And continuously we have lived with identifying with a mask. All the differences, all the conflicts in the world comes only because with one mask we are identifying. Shankara taught us, remove that layer out, remove that layer. Everyone is nothing but divine. Just take that one layer out and start looking. If we can take away those layers, one after another, one after another, one after another, and teach people also, then people have to see divinity everywhere. If this message doesn't go across, saying you and I are the same always, wherever we are in the world, but it is the layers which are covering, and do not identify with a layer. Identifying with a layer, naturally one layer to another, conflict, etc. will come. we need to see oneness to avoid conflict. Unless that oneness is felt, it can't come. And we are the masters. We had this knowledge, Brahma Vidya. Custodians of Brahma Vidya is Bharat. And without Brahma Vidya, world will never find peace. And if we have to get this peace to the world, please remember, only philosophy will not work. We need to work for prosperity too. When we work for prosperity, and that is what people will see, then we see an India which is very different. It is to this India everybody was trying to come, isn't it? Vasco da Gama wanted to come for what? To India. Columbus wanted to come to India. Every sailor, their destination was India, Bharat, because it was that glorious country, a nation in the world. Imagine even till 18th century, till 18th century, if we had a GDP of 24-25% of the world, and the next our neighbors, China had another 20-25%. Between two countries, neighbors, India, China, we were having more than 50% world GDP of the world. Not two continents, two countries. Naturally, people looked up to us because we had everything. So our growth should be based with this, and that would be the best we can do. Shankara always had, he was not just preaching mendicant. He reached everybody, whether it is a temple renovation, whether it is addressing a king or anything. Kanakadara Stotram, is that not Lakshmi and Narayana together? Prosperity and spirituality together. If we can bring this idea back, prosperity and spirituality together, then the world will see us stronger. In that world, when we talk, they will listen. In that world, when we say something about Advaita Vedanta, they will listen. So we have to keep working on these 2 points. It's the most beautiful philosophy. When you remove all layers, the truth is one and the same. And when we go further, little more into philosophy more deeper, lot more can be done to convince the world of science. I would suggest to the organizers, we should have another seminar with top scientists in the world. Top scientists. So let's have a seminar, something like quantum physics and Shankara. Comparison of Einstein and Shankara. If we can bring this kind of a combination, the world will wake up to what we are, because they are looking at them as the highest. And quantum physics is catching up. Quantum physics is coming closer and closer. If we can bring this amalgamation, the confluence of what you call a science today and Shankara, when we bring these two together, at some point, quantum physics may evolve to Shankara. Do you understand? Science has evolved to spirituality. The vision would be much different if we do it. So our method, progress, moving forward, we should keep this. I give this suggestion. We must have absolute scientific presentations with Adi Shankara. Let's bring some physicists, quantum physicists, etc., bring them together and let's start looking at it, because this approach is needed. If few quantum physicists in the world wake up to what Shankara has said and they admire Shankara, imagine where have you reached today? I'm sure once we do something like that, every Indian will start identifying or recognizing. Unfortunately, today is, our condition is that someone outside has to acknowledge. That's really sad, isn't it? Tagore could not build his school, Shantiniketan. He did not have money till he got the Nobel Prize. Someone has to acknowledge. Someone outside has to recognize. Vivekananda could not build a samadhi sthal for Ramakrishna Paramahamsa. Do you know that? When Ramakrishna Paramahamsa passed away, Vivekananda and the monks there did not have money to build a samadhi for Ramakrishna Paramahamsa. They used to carry the urns and keep it in different houses, because a puja has to be done to it, maintained, and they had to do everything. They did not have money. And the moment he was noticed, acknowledged in Chicago, the things, Indian approach changes. I think to take Shankara faster to Indians, we need to connect him with physicists, science, and bring him. Then I'm sure more people in India would also wake up, because that's the hardest thing which we are trying. I've been working with the youth. Hardest thing is to wake these guys up to their own potential. Hardest thing is to wake them up to their own richness. They have their own matrix. Please remember, they have their own mindset, which they've got used to it. Through that mindset, through that matrix is where we have to bring our people to be admired. So science is one thing which can definitely bring Shankara to Indian youth much better if we bring something like this. So I suggest that we look into, in the future, at least one seminar where we really record it properly and put it out where the scientists admire Shankara's vision. Okay, so that kind of a thing if we do, only then this beautiful, brilliant philosophy of Advaita, which has a universal vision, which is completely universal in acceptance, which accepts everybody, because Advaita gives us that vision to penetrate all layers, all koshas, and then see what is inside. And it's just that little bit of push is all that we needed. I think if we can start doing that, the vision would reach more. And world needs Advaita for world's existence. World needs Advaita Vedanta for harmony. And you and I are the custodians of it today. We are the custodians. Let's protect it, let's guard it, and let's hand it over to the next generation the way in which they appreciate. Please remember, there is a difference here. You want to give something, but they do not know to receive it. And the way in which you are giving, they are not willing to take. So we need to come somewhere, meet that point. They should know to take what we give, but we also should know to give the way in which they like taking it. That approach, if we do, I'm sure it will catch up much more, and that universal vision of Advaita Vedanta, that vision of Shankara would reach everybody. It was nice talking to you. Thank you very much.
हार्दिक धन्यवाद, आभार स्वामी जी। एक बहुत ही नई तरह से विषय को देखने समझने की जो फितरत है, जो चेष्टा है, वो हमें स्वामी जी के उद्बोधन में नज़र आई है, और यही दरअसल हमारी सार्थकता भी इस तरह के संवादों की बनती है। आदरणीय पवन कुमार वर्मा जी हमारे बीच मौजूद हैं, और जैसा कि मैं आरंभ में भी आपको बता रहा था कि किस तरह से लगातार उनकी एक गहरी संलग्नता हमारे साथ इस पूरे विचार दर्शन के साथ, इस अभियान के साथ बनी हुई है। लेकिन ये जानना हम सब के लिए बहुत महत्वपूर्ण है कि दरअसल उनके रास्ते कहाँ कहाँ से होकर यहाँ तक पहुँचते हैं। लिहाजा हम ये जानते हैं कि वे बहुत अच्छे हिंदी के लेखक हैं, राजनयिक रहे हैं, और 1976 में भारतीय विदेश सेवा में आप शामिल हुए, भारत के राष्ट्रपति के प्रेस सचिव रहे, विदेश मंत्रालय के प्रवक्ता रहे, अफ्रीका में संयुक्त सचिव रहे, और साइप्रस में भारत के उच्चायुक्त भी रहे। लंदन में नेहरू केंद्र, भारतीय सांस्कृतिक संबंध परिषद, नई दिल्ली के महानिदेशक, और भूटान में भारत के राजदूत रहे। 1 दर्जन से भी अधिक बेस्ट सेलिंग पुस्तकें आपने लिखी हैं, जिनमें हम याद कर सकते हैं कृष्णा, द प्लेफुल डिवाइन, बीइंग इंडियन, और इसके साथ ही कई सारी हमारे हिंदू दर्शन पर एकाग्र, शंकराचार्य के दर्शन पर एकाग्र किताबें भी इसमें शामिल रही हैं। पवन जी शंकराचार्य के अद्वैत दर्शन के आग्रह के साथ हमारे बीच पधारे हैं, तो जाहिर है कि उनका आज का यह आग्रह एक नई तरंगे और नई ध्वनियों के साथ हम सब तक पहुंचेगा। बहुत सम्मान के साथ आदरणीय पवन जी।
स्वामी मित्रानंद सरस्वती जी, यहाँ उपस्थित शंकराचार्य में रुचि रखने वाले भाइयों और बहनों, आज का दिन मेरे लिए बड़ी व्यस्तता का रहा, क्योंकि भोपाल से मैं सागर आते हुए, ये होता है अक्सर उन लोगों के साथ जो दो दुनिया में रहते हैं। एक मेरी दुनिया है राजनीति, और आज एक महत्वपूर्ण, कल राज्यसभा में आएगी नागरिकता संशोधन विधेयक बिल। उस पर मेरा एक ट्वीट से बौखलाहट से मच गई पूरे मीडिया वर्ल्ड में, तो मैं 2 घंटे बात करते हुए गाड़ी में और लाइव फोनों पर इंटरव्यूज देता हुआ आ रहा हूं। अब उस दुनिया से आदि शंकराचार्य से जुड़ना थोड़ा सा ट्रांजिशन है, but let me say how happy I am to be here. Sagar is a city which is very close to my heart. I have very good friends here. Taiji, Neeta Khanna. My father was posted here many years ago as district collector. He was earlier also SDM in Sagar. My sister was born in Sagar, who is elder to me. So coming back to the heart of India is, in a way, a pilgrimage for me. And I'm very happy to be here. I have written, Swamiji is looking at. My last book was a book called Adi Shankaracharya, Hinduism's Greatest Thinker. It was published by Amazon Westland. And it is my 23rd or 24th book, many of which have been bestsellers. But what has surprised me is that this book has sold the most among all my books. My publishers say, Amazon Westland, that there is a curiosity. There is a curiosity about what Swamiji was referring to, the greatness of the civilizational and thought legacy of India, but matching that is an ignorance about it. एक जिज्ञासा भी है और एक ignorance भी है, और कहीं ना कहीं इस पुस्तक ने एक ब्रिज का काम किया है कि जो जानना चाहते थे उनको एक जरिया मिल गया. Now translations of this book, some copies are available outside, have come out. And incidentally, the largest number of readers of this book, which has been on the best-selling list now for months, are youth. युवा पीढ़ी पढ़ रही, जिसके लिए मुझे खास खुशी है. बट अब इसके अनुवाद आ चुके हैं हिंदी में, मलयालम में, तमिल में, तेलुगु में, कन्नड़ में, गुजराती में, मराठी में, बंगाली में, which takes it to another audience. So I'm happy that more people are coming to know about one of the greatest minds that India has produced. Adi Shankaracharya has to be understood, and I want your attention here, by the audacity of his thought. सोच की परिकाष्ठा, philosophy ही नहीं. He compels you to think about who you are. उसका आधार उपनिषद है. The Upanishads are a remarkable dialogue on the process of self-discovery, जो कि आपसे भी जुड़ा है, मुझसे भी जुड़ा है, कि कभी न कभी तो जब हम एकांत में होते हैं तो पूछते हैं हम कौन हैं. ये आसपास ये जो bewildering plurality इस दुनिया की है, ये क्या है? हमारा जन्म क्यों हुआ? हम क्यों आए इस धरती पे? हमारा लक्ष्य या मकसद क्या है? हम किस तरफ अग्रसर हो रहे हैं? कहां से आए और कहां जाएंगे? ये सवाल होते हैं हर इंसान के साथ. उतार चढ़ाव दुनिया में होता है, बट दीज आर फंडामेंटल क्वेश्चंस विच ऑल ऑफ अस आस्क. कभी खुशी में नहीं तो गम में. ये सवाल नहीं छोड़ते हैं इंसान को. What did Shankaracharya do? About his early life, Swamiji mentioned. But Shankaracharya said one thing basic, and you have to understand that, because it is a very audacious thought. ये एक ऐसी सोच है जिसकी कल्पना सोचना वाला भी नहीं कर सकता. He said, there is no other. There is only one. इसको कहना आसान है, समझना मुश्किल है. जो कल्पना उन्होंने ब्रह्म की उपनिषद से इंस्पायर्ड, उसको श्रुति लेके मान के चलते थे. अहम ब्रह्मास्मि तत् त्वम असि, अयम आत्मा ब्रह्म, प्रज्ञनम ब्रह्म. स्रोत वो है, उसका विस्तार शंकराचार्य का है. एंड द मैनर इन विच ही डज इट इज कंप्रेस्ड cerebral energy. That is why he is one of the greatest thinkers. Brahm is ekam ek sarvavyapi, all pervasive. Brahm is sarva pratyay darshanin, all knowing intelligence. Brahm is nirvishesh chinmatram, undifferentiated consciousness. Brahm is adrisht, unseen. It is achintya, unthought. It is akhand, indivisible. It is purna, complete. And it is nirguna, without attributes. अब ये कल्पना देखिए आप. And I have written in my book in one chapter about the remarkable validation of science. आज विज्ञान के जो latest discoveries हैं वो इस vision को पुष्टि कर रही. And there is a full chapter on it, where I make a deep study of cosmology, quantum physics and neurology to correlate what Shankaracharya is saying about what is real and what science today is saying is the real. दोनों का correlation आप पढ़ें तो you will realize that what scientists discover empirically by experimentation and observation, a philosopher sees through the depth of his insight in the greatest moments of meditational energy. जो उन्होंने देखा, जिसकी कल्पना की, आज विज्ञान उसकी पुष्टि कर रहा है. तो ये है ब्रह्म, और ये एक ही असल है. इट इज एन ऑल परवेसिंग यूनिवर्सल कॉन्शियसनेस, जिसका एक ही इन्फरेंशियल एक्सपीरियंस, अगर आप उससे कभी तादात्म्य हो जाए आपका, आपको कभी ब्रह्म अनुभव हो जाए, तो वो केवल दो चीज का है, वो है चिद और आनंद. अवेयरनेस एंड टोटल ब्लिस, अनब्लेमिश्ड जॉय. That is your real self. That is the only self. There is no other than that self. पहले तो इस थॉट को आप अपने मन में अपनाइए, क्योंकि आखिरकार इस दुनिया में इतनी मल्टीप्लिसिटी है, इतनी डाइवर्सिटी है. पर जैसे गालिब कहता है, जबकि तुझ बिन नहीं कोई मौजूद, तो यह हंगामा खुदा क्या है. एक वही चीज है जो मौजूद है. तो फिर ये संसार, और इस संसार में जो हम फंसे हैं वो क्या है? एक बहुत ही स्ट्रॉन्ग इंटरोगेटरी थिंकिंग के बाद अपने निष्कर्ष पे शंकराचार्य जी आते हैं, स्टेप बाय स्टेप. अगर वही असल है, वो ब्रह्म जो मुझ में, जो आप में है, जो हर जगह है, जो ही है, जिसके अलावा और कुछ नहीं है, तो आप और हम हैं क्या? ये अलग अलग हस्तियां चीज क्या है? व्हाट इज दिस वर्ल्ड? और शंकराचार्य कहते हैं कि असल तो वही है, उसमें कभी कोई बदलाव नहीं होता. हम तो केवल इफेक्ट हैं, जो कि कॉज से, कारण से प्रभाव अलग नहीं है. और उसके बीच में है एक चीज जो माया है, नैसर्गिक, अनंत, अनादि चली आ रही है, अविद्या, जिसके वजह से हम अपने आप को इस दुनिया से, जो हमारी लौकिक दुनिया है, उससे अपने को ज्यादा जुड़ा मानते हैं बनस्पत उससे जो हमारा असल रूप है. ये एक अनोखा खेल है, ये माया का खेल है. ये क्यों होता है? वो अनिर्वाचनीय है, इनएक्सप्लिकेबल है, पर होता है. शायद टू टेस्ट यू होता है, सबकी जिंदगी में होता है. जब हम उसको भूल करके अपने को इस लौकिक दुनिया, उस दुनिया के जो अस्थाई है, जो अस्थिर है, जो परिवर्तनशील है, that which is unstable, that which is transient, that which is subject to change, can never be the real or the truth. You have to understand that. So when I said that Shankaracharya depicts an audacity of thought, it requires great courage of thought to articulate such a vision. And to derive from that the rest of the world through a process where he says, एक दोष हो जाता है, एक error of perception, in which we mistake the unreal for the real and the real for the unreal, the transient for the eternal and the eternal for the transient. This is the mistake. It happens to all of us. हम अपनी अपनी दुनिया में इस तरह से खो जाते हैं कि हमको लगता है जो इस वक्त बीत रहा है वही असली नहीं है, वही है और कुछ इसके आगे है ही नहीं. But science proves otherwise. Science proves otherwise. In the labs of Harvard, experiments are being carried out. A practiced meditationer sits with a string tied on his finger. And just as he is going to slip into the deepest moments of meditation, he gives a signal. And immediately the scientists are alerted. He pulls the string, the scientists are alerted, and when he is in his deepest moments of meditation, they do a SPECT of his brain. And they find that the entire aura of the brain has changed. And the experience of the meditationer after he comes out from his deepest moments of meditation is one of complete oneness, complete denial of the individual self, a complete experience of wholesomeness, and the complete absence of all division. Now, this is not theory, this is experience. आप ध्यान में बैठिए और जब कुछ क्षणों के लिए भी मस्तिष्क शांत हो जाए, thought process stills, you will experience that chid and that anand, the sense of total bliss, total joy, total fullness, total alertness, total consciousness. You can experience it. What prevents your mind from experiencing it always? Again, it's a very scientific analysis. The mind consists of three things: thought, ego, and beyond that, awareness. आपने देखा होगा, अपने माइंड को ऑब्जर्व कीजिए कि वो एक मिनट के लिए शांत नहीं है। एक थॉट से दूसरे थॉट से तीसरे थॉट से चौथे थॉट. It's like a monkey jumping from one branch of a tree to another. For a moment it is not quiet. When the mind is not quiet, you don't realize who you are. Then there is the sense of ahankar, I am. This whole sterile, futile, unsubstantiated, unsustainable notion of I. मैं करता हूं, न मैं होता तो क्या होता. गालिब कह सकते हैं, डुबोया मुझको होने ने, न मैं होता तो क्या होता. पर हम नहीं भूल सकते. हमारी जिंदगी उस मैं के ही इर्द गिर्द घूमती है. That false, illusory, transient, but powerful notion of I-ness, that is a barrier. Thoughts are a barrier. What we call intelligence, that is a barrier. Ahankar is a barrier. But if you still the mind, then you come to an experience of the same definition of reality which Shankar says is the only real. And why do we make this mistake? Because Maya works in such a way. वो भी analyzed है. Maya works in two ways. Avaran, masking the truth, and vikshep, distorting the truth. और आप क्लोजली वॉच करिए अपनी अपनी जिंदगी, रोजमर्रा जिंदगी, every day, think about it, watch your mind, and you will see this is exactly what is happening. And the net result is that we mistake the real for the unreal and the unreal for the real. So if this one pulsating universal consciousness is the only truth, how can there be division in society? जब आप भी वही हैं और मैं भी वही हूं. वैसे मैं आपको बता दूं, क्वांटम फिजिक्स कहती है कि आप जो हैं, आप जो लग रहे हैं वो आप है ही नहीं. यू आर जस्ट एम्प्टी स्पेस विथ वेव्स ऑफ एनर्जी. यू आर नॉट व्हाट यू थिंक यू आर. जो शंकराचार्य कहते हैं कि जो रियल वर्ल्ड है, जो आप समझते हैं रियल, वो तो है ही नहीं. वो इसलिए नहीं है क्योंकि वो अस्थाई है, वो अस्थिर है, वो परिवर्तनशील है. उसके अलावा पर वो है क्यों? और वो बड़ा फेमस एग्जाम्पल देते हैं उसका. इट इज कॉल्ड द सर्पेंट एंड द रोप. यू हैव ऑल हर्ड ऑफ इट. आई एम गिविंग वन एग्जाम्पल. द सर्पेंट appears, the rope appears to be to you a snake. रस्सी आपको एक नाग लगता है, सांप लगता है. जब तक आप समझ नहीं लेते कि वो रस्सी है, that snake exists. It is there in your consciousness. Dosha of perception. The moment your perception changes and you realize that the rope is a rope and not a snake, the snake ceases to be. तो है भी और नहीं भी है. यही माया का खेल है. है क्योंकि हम उसको अनुभव कर रहे हैं, और नहीं भी है क्योंकि वो अनंत नहीं है, क्योंकि वो रियल नहीं है, क्योंकि वो अस्थिर है. It is transient. So only the real matters. That real is universal. It's not about India and America. It is universal. Science is proving it. एक EPR experiment हुआ 1940 में, Einstein-Podolsky-Rosen experiment. I'm giving you just one example from my study of this, comparing science with the vision of Shankaracharya. Two electrons will, if put in exactly the same axis, revolve at the same speed, except one will go clockwise and the other will go counterclockwise. अब एक अगर उसमें से सागर में है और दूसरे को आप टोक्यो ले जाएं, if you put them in the precise same axis, instantaneously they acquire the clockwise or counterclockwise movement. How does this information pass? अगर ये consciousness जो है वो अखंड नहीं है, indivisible नहीं है, तो ये information pass कैसे होती है? Because it is the instantaneous rotation and clockwise or counterclockwise cycle of two electrons placed on the precise same axis is faster than the speed of light. How does this information travel between them? If there is not something which is indivisible, which is universal, which is pervasive. So today science is validating it. And leave alone differences between nations. India has given the message of unity based on a concept which is universal by definition. There can be no divisions in society. Adi Shankaracharya says, na main mrityu shanka na main jati bheda. Jati bheda kya hai? वो तो कहते हैं जब उनकी मुलाकात होती है वाराणसी के संकीर्ण गलियों में, जो तब कहा जाता था लोएस्ट सोशल ऑर्डर कि किसी व्यक्ति से, तो वो कहते हैं चंडालस्तु स तु द्विजोस्तु गुरुरेष्ट्य मनीष ममा. तुम चंडाल हो या ट्वाइस बॉर्न हो, अपर कास्ट के हो, मेरे लिए तुम गुरु के समान हो, क्योंकि तुम भी वही हो, मैं भी वही हूं, हम दोनों में अंतर ही नहीं है. और वो कहते हैं मनीष ममा, इट इज माई नॉट होप, इट इज माई रिजॉल्व. सो देयर कैन बी नो डिविजन इन सोसाइटी. There can be no division among nations. It has to be a universal acceptance that there is one common consciousness between us, which Dr. Andrew Newberg now in the United States calls, based on Adi Shankaracharya, absolute unitary being, which permeates you and permeates me and therefore bridges all divides. He also unifies all customs, rituals. His concept of knowledge is paravidya, aparavidya. अपराविद्या में जो कि प्रेपरेटरी स्टेज है paravidya तक पहुंचने के लिए, वो सब कुछ सैंक्शन करते हैं। योगा, भक्ति, प्रपत्ति, पूजा, पाठ, कीर्तन, जो करो, जब तक कि इसके करने में कोई अभ्युदय ना हो, सेंस ऑफ पर्सनल गेन ही ना हो, और जब इसके करने से तुम्हारा मन शांत हो और तुम्हारे जो अहंकार है उसमें कमी आए, तो ही सैंक्शंस एवरीथिंग। कोई डिफरेंस नहीं है। आप कर्म योगी हैं तब भी ठीक है, वैसे वो ज्ञान मार्ग के थे। आप योग करते हैं, आप भक्ति करते हैं, ये आपकी अपनी पसंद हो सकती है। इसीलिए तो उनको कहते हैं षण्मठ स्थापन आचार्य। सारे मठों को जोड़ करके एक स्थापन आचार्य थे शंकराचार्य। तो सोसाइटी में डिवीजन नहीं, देशों में डिवीजन नहीं, और ये कॉस्मिक कॉन्शियस, जो कॉन्शियसनेस जिसका उन्होंने उल्लेख किया है, जो ब्रह्म है, इट इज कॉस्मिक। It is cosmic in canvas. It is not restricted to this tiny speck in the universe called the planet. So it is the ultimate vision of universal oneness. इसमें डिवीजन हो ही नहीं सकता। तो इसलिए एक कई दफे हो जाता है हिंदुइज्म के साथ कि हिंदुइज्म इज अ way of life. We don't have only one temple, only one prescribed religious book, only one set of rituals, one mandatory congregation, one pope, one God. So it is more a way of life. But very often what happens when religions are a way of life, that we become a little adrift from the deep philosophical resources of our own religion. And remember one thing, you cannot separate Hinduism as a religion from Hinduism as a philosophy. जब तक आप उसका दार्शनिक आधार नहीं समझेंगे, you cannot understand Hinduism and the greatness and eclectic, inclusive, broad-minded, remarkably intelligent worldview it has. So we have become adrift from our own sources, and so I would say that Adi Shankaracharya's message of universal oneness is not based on an appeal to you and me to give up our divisions. Please understand this carefully. It is based on his proven concept that essentially there is no division between us. वो ये नहीं कह रहे हैं कि जो divisions हैं उनसे ऊपर उठिए। वो ये कह रहे हैं कि आपके और हमारे बीच में कोई डिवीजन है ही नहीं, क्योंकि आप भी वही हैं, मैं भी वही हैं, हम दोनों तत्त्वमसि, हम दोनों वही हैं, और वो है ब्रह्म, और हम हकदार हैं उसके आनंद के। जो सच्चिदानंद का बोध है ब्रह्म अनुभव में, जब मन शांत है और आप ध्यान में हैं, उसके हकदार हैं आप। अपनी निजी जिंदगी में, रोजमर्रा की जिंदगी में उसके हकदार है, और जिसको ब्रह्म अनुभव हो गया उसके लिए एक्सटर्नल रियलिटी परमानेंटली बदल जाती है। यह है मैसेज ऑफ यूनिवर्सल वननेस ऑफ आदि शंकराचार्य। थैंक यू सो मच।